The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my show, The Right Side. Doug Billings here with you. You're watching the program that makes you the most intellectually mature audience in all of Radioland. Thank you very much for being here. So right now, today, something is happening in the quiet little town of Chappaqua, New York. House Republicans stormed straight into Hillary and Bill Clinton's own backyard, and they are putting the former First Lady and President under oath in a closed-door videotaped deposition about their ties to the monster known as Jeffrey Epstein. Hillary this morning went in at 11 o'clock Eastern time. They met for the meeting at the Chappaqua Performing Arts Center, and I think there's something ironic about that. Democrats meeting at a performing arts center since all they give us is theater anyway. Bill Clinton will follow tomorrow. It's not a Washington, D.C. Neutral hearing room. It is the Clintons' $11 million mansion neighborhood, the place that they've called home since 1999. And Chairman James Comer flew up there personally. We'll get to that and why it's important, with at least 10 other House Republicans to look at them in the eye. So Comer made it crystal clear before they even walked in the door. And he said, no one is accusing, at this moment, the Clintons of any wrongdoing. They're going to have their due process. But we have a lot of questions. And we know that Jeffrey Epstein said many times in emails that he was the first person to raise money for the Clinton Foundation, that he solicited money at some of his properties for the Clinton Foundation. And Comer, added that there are serious questions about Hillary's relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell, including the fact that Maxwell attended Chelsea Clinton's wedding in 2010, years after the first allegations against Epstein surfaced. Juxtapose that against Trump, who, as soon as he heard the first rumbling of trouble and problems with Epstein, he canceled it. He wouldn't allow him to join Mar-a-Lago. We kicked him out. And again, Trump acted fast. Okay, Clinton's not so much. This is the sound of the swamp finally being drained. But when Hillary walked into the room this morning, she didn't come to answer questions. She came to attack. And here's what she actually said under oath in her opening statement. And I quote, "I don't ever recall encountering Mr. Epstein. I never flew on his plane, never visited his island, his homes, or his offices. I have nothing to add to that." So she went a little bit further, claiming in her January 13th sworn declaration, as she says, quote, "I stated in my sworn declaration on January 13th, I had no idea about their criminal activities," end quote. And then she turned the tables, accusing the very committee investigating child sex trafficking of trying to distract from President Trump. And she said, and I quote, "A committee endeavoring to stop human trafficking would seek to understand what specific steps are needed to fix a system. But that's not happening. Instead, you have compelled me to testify in order to distract attention from President Trump's actions," end quote. She even called the entire probe a fishing expedition. Now, this is classic Clinton deflection, ladies and gentlemen. Classic. Representative Nancy Mace, the South Carolina Republican who helped force the release of more Epstein files last year than almost anyone else in the House, was the first lawmaker to question her this morning, pressing her on Maxwell, the Clinton Foundation ties, and even Trump Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. So Chairman Comer responded very calmly. Again, we're not accusing Hillary Clinton of any wrongdoing, but there are a lot of questions pertaining to Secretary Clinton with respect to Epstein and his involvement in the Clinton initiative and her relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell. So, folks, this is the two-tiered system right here in living color, in living recording. If you're an average American and you get subpoenaed by Congress, you show up in D.C. or you go to jail. If you're Hillary and you're Bill Clinton, you get the home field advantage in your multi-million-dollar enclave. But today, that protection really, truly is cracking. So I want to be clear about what this probe is really about. The House Oversight Committee is investigating how the federal government handled the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell sex trafficking empire. The largest, most protected sex trafficking network in modern American history. And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't already know it, child sex and human trafficking happens in every zip code in America. I don't care how rural or how isolated that zip code is. So Epstein didn't operate alone, folks. He had enablers and he had protectors. He had powerful friends who flew on his plane, visited his island, and helped him stay out of prison for a long time, many years. And yes, both Clintons appear multiple times in the released Epstein files. Flight logs, phone records, social connections that went back for decades. Nobody's accusing them of criminal wrongdoing in this probe yet, but the American people deserve every single answer. For decades, guys, we've watched. Epstein gets a sweetheart deal in 2008. Ghislaine Maxwell gets convicted, but the client list stays hidden. Powerful names keep appearing. We see them all the time. Every drop of a new document. Nothing seems to happen until now. And I'm telling you, all of those of you out there who are thirsty for accountability, you know, the perp walk crowd. We need to see a perp walk now. We need arrest now. Hang on a minute. They're working. You see, the reason we saw so much lawfare thrown against President Trump and his family and his inner circle was because the radical liberal movement threw up fiction. It's easy to throw up fiction. You can just throw anything against the wall and see what sticks. And as we know, fiction doesn't last. Every one of the charges, the accusations, the convictions, thrown out. We don't want to do that. We want, convictions that last. We want prosecution that is appeals proof. And that takes time. So under Republican control of the House and with President Trump back in the White House, the days of this elite protection are over. Chairman Comer is not playing games. These depositions are being videotaped. They are being transcribed. And once the Clintons' lawyers review them, the American people are going to see the raw footage. That's real transparency. It's the kind that the left screams for when they're attacking us, conservatives. But suddenly they hate it when the spotlight turns on them. So this is bigger than one deposition, actually. This is the beginning of the end of the two-tiered justice system that has protected the powerful for far too long. Just think about it with me for a minute. An average father in Kansas gets his life destroyed over a tax mistake. A grandmother in Ohio gets raided by the FBI for praying at an abortion clinic. But the Clintons, with all of their documented connections to the most notorious sex trafficker in history, they get to testify from the comfort of their own home? Not anymore. The 2024 election wasn't just about policy. It was about finally restoring equal justice under the law. The American people voted to drain the swamp twice, and today you're watching it happen in real time in Chappaqua. Hillary is in that room right now, claiming that she doesn't recall ever encountering, the man whose foundation ties and wedding guest list say otherwise. The clock has run out. So if you're as fired up as I am, ladies and gentlemen, that the elites are finally being held to account, do three things for me right now. Smash that like button because it tells YouTube and X and the other platforms to show this to millions of more patriots. That's how the algorithm works. So just take a moment and click like. Then subscribe or follow. It's free to do either. Turn on notifications because I drop truth like this almost every day. Share this video with every single person that you know who's tired of this two-tiered system. The swamp is being drained one deposition at a time. Hillary is in the room now. Bill is up tomorrow, and the American people are watching. Over on YouTube, at The Right Side Doug Billings, ladies and gentlemen. On X, at Doug Billings. And on Facebook, at The Right Side Doug Billings. This is justice finally arriving, folks. It takes its good time for a reason because we want appeal-proof and conviction-lasting rulings on this and other cases. That's why we fight. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. We are in this thing together, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the set of my show, Doug Billings. Hey, my good friends at EMP Shield, that's electromagnetic pulse, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri. Electromagnetic pulse could wipe out your home electrical system, could wipe out your vehicle. And thanks to the radical liberal agenda that was put forth under Administrator Biden and Vice Pretender Harris, there are lots of people in this country who want to do us harm. And maybe an EMP device would be their chosen weapon. But EMP Shield gives you a device that can protect you. This little baby here goes on your home outlets, a computer, a router, whatever you want to protect. And then they also have a larger model like this. You can still hold it in the palm of your hand that goes on your vehicle battery so that you can get out of trouble from point A to point B. EMPshield.com. Promo code Doug, ladies and gentlemen. Save yourself, save your property. EMPshield.com. Promo code Doug. We're in this together, folks. Believe it. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.